Hello and welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. My name is Dr. Vanessa Milagros, and today we're going to be talking about 10 reasons why marriages don't work. So if you're interested in finding out more, stick around. I think it's important to preface that this is not to scare anyone or intimidate anyone out of marriage or to justify why marriages don't work. It's really an opportunity for all of us to learn a lot of the reasons why marriages can be difficult, and maybe wherever you are in your journey, you can take some of these tips and apply it in healthier ways in your relationships to help it thrive and continue to grow and be healthy. So let's get into the 10 reasons why most marriages fail. Number one, poor communication. I think this will always be reason number one. Poor communication can lead to resentments, anger, things left unsaid. What I see as a couples therapist a lot of times is the inability or the lack of being able to express their emotional needs, their concerns, their thoughts, to feel safe in expressing those emotions with their partner is a lot of the reasons why the lack of communication is there. But it starts with a feeling of, I don't feel safe enough to express myself to you, so I'm holding this in. However, that could lead to resentments that then lead to other things. So working on improving that communication, the way you listen is a big part of that communication, because a lot of times we think the way we speak and the words we use are important, which it is, they definitely are. However, how we listen to our partners is just as equally important, and that part is missed a lot of times in communication. Number two, infidelity. Whether it's emotional or physical infidelity, this breaks trust within a relationship, hands down. There's no arguing that. And although infidelity does not always end in marriages failing or in marriages ending in divorce, because a lot of times couples are able to work through this, it takes time, it takes consistency, and it takes effort, but it is possible and it has been done. But when that emotional foundation of a relationship is broken due to somebody stepping out in infidelity, that's hard to get back because that level of safety, that foundation of safety is missing. And that is a really big and important part of any healthy relationship, is to feel like I am most vulnerable with you. You are most vulnerable with me. We have a trust for each other, a protection for each other, and we will not let anyone or anything get in between that foundation of trust that we've decided to build together, that we've put in the time and effort to build. And so when infidelity happens, that really can break a lot of things. Number three, lack of emotional support. When couples feel unappreciated or neglected emotionally, this can really cause a lot of damage within the relationship. And this is because feeling emotionally disconnected from your person, your partner, can lead to isolation, can lead to sadness, loneliness, and this pushes couples apart. Number four is financial stress. Financial stress can come in many different forms, whether it's the differences between you and your partner and how you both approach money and finances, what's important to you both, what you value as individuals, is where you spend your money on. And so the differences in that can create a lot of feelings of instability or of not feeling safe within the relationship due to how your partner handles finances versus how you do. Other times it's the difference in income within your partner or your spouse. So one partner makes significantly more and the other partner does not. That can also create financial stress. Number five, unrealistic expectations. And if I can make this number three or number four, I would. But this is a big one as well, because we have this idea, this picture in our heads of what marriage is going to look like, of what having a family is going to look like, of what our futures are going to look like. We all have that picture in our heads, things that we expect to happen that we don't necessarily share out loud, but it's just a silent expectation that we have of our partner and what our futures are going to look like. If you've lived on this earth long enough and have had enough experiences, you know the very real fact that life doesn't always turn out the way we picture it and imagine it and expect it to. Life gives us curveballs. Life gives us different things to teach us, to grow us, to change us for the better. So expectations are still healthy to have because it helps us to get somewhere. But when expectations are not met and when expectations are silent, so you don't share this with your partner, this can lead to disappointment, silent disappointment, because you're expecting something from your partner. You're not sharing this with your partner. When you get disappointed because they don't meet those expectations, you remain silent in that. That only builds resentment, mistrust, and anger that will come out. There's no way around it. It will come out. And one thing that I see a lot as a couples therapist is the expectation that my partner will meet and should meet all of my emotional, social needs. And that's just unrealistic, and nobody can live up to that because you, as an individual, are supposed to meet your needs. There are things that you can express to your partner that you want or desire from them, but the pressure that you have to meet all of these needs all the time for me, if not, I am not okay, that's unhealthy because you're making your happiness a result of their actions. Instead, understanding that if you're in a relationship long enough, they will hurt you, they will disappoint you at times, they will not do things the way you expect or want them to do it because we're all human and we all make mistakes. As long as the goal is we're going to work through this, as long as the goal is I love and care for you and I want to make sure that you feel safe and I'm going to do what I can to make sure that happens, then fine. You can work through anything. Number 6, conflict over parenting styles. The way that you parent your children, the way that you were parented, the experiences that you want to continue, the ones that you do not want to continue with your family. The differences between these can be a point of argument for couples because there's an expectation of, well, this is how I expect to parent. And it's based on how I experience my parents, but you are coming with your own set of expectations as well. Really recommend premarital couples counseling because this helps you to sit down and have someone at least to get you started thinking and having these conversations before you get married is so important. So I always recommend premarital therapy. And I know that's something that a lot of people feel like, oh no, we're in a good place. We're not having any problems. We want to get married. We're in the bliss of everything. So premarital therapy just feels like it's going to be a drain. I would strongly advise you to reconsider because this is like anything else that you prepare for in life. And marriage is a big deal. And you're going to go through changes within your marriage. And so having those conversations doesn't mean that you're never going to experience those things, but it just gives you the opportunity to be honest with other about the fact that life can be hard and there are things that happen that we don't expect. So let's have this conversation of how we would handle these things if we were ever faced with them. Number 7, lack of intimacy. Now, this can be physical and emotional. The lack of intimacy can make partners feel disconnected, unwanted, undervalued, and this can create a lot of different things. So making sure that you're meeting the emotional and physical intimacy is very, very important and it goes hand in hand. Having a disconnect within this area can lead to loneliness, rejection, feelings of resentment over time. So this is a really important area that a lot of couples can struggle with and that actually based on research leads to marital dissatisfaction and ends in divorce. Number 8, and this is one that I see a lot of, but that I don't think gets talked about enough. And this is growing apart. There are times in every single marriage or as an individual, we all go through changes. In a marriage that lasts long enough, you will go through changes. Your partner will not be the same as when you walk down the aisle the first time. If nobody's told you that, you're welcome. I'm helping you out here. That is because as humans, our interests change. The way we view the world change. Experiences change us. Sometimes for the better, sometimes not. We go through moments where we're up and through moments where we're going through it and we need our partners more than ever and vice versa. So our partners are always going to change. Therefore, that requires give and take and adjustments within every single relationship. Whether that's your partner wants to go back to school, whether that's your partner lost their job, whether that's you're going through some of those things, whether that's a family member is now required to move in with you guys, whether it's the fact that the kids get old enough and leave the home, whether it's the fact that you have kids. There are so many changes that marriages go through. And so the most successful couples are the couples that are able to adapt to those changes, that are able to confront those changes with a level of curiosity of, oh, your interests are changing now. What are you interested in now? Are there different hobbies that you wanted to do and now you're trying to explore them? Are there some that I can partake with you? Are there some that I can let you just do on your own but support you? Those are the marriages that succeed. Number 9, addiction and substance abuse. This is a big one because when someone has a mental disease, a mental illness, which substance abuse does come from a mental illness. This person has an illness and we need to treat it the same way we would any illness. And so this changes a person. When someone has a substance use problem, they change. They are not the same person that you knew, that you fell in love with, that you wanted to create a life with. Substance abuse can wreck relationships, families forever, unless the person gets consistent help. Another thing that I see is the silence behind the substance use, that we're going to figure this out on our own. We're not going to ask for any outside support. this is going to stay between us. And so the person goes without the help that they need for a long time, and the family starts to get wrecked financially, emotionally, spiritually, in every way possible, slowly and slowly. And it's not until things get really bad that then people tend to be desperate for help. And last, number 10, incompatibility within your core values. So whether that's differences between religious beliefs, political beliefs, life goals, careers, aspirations, this can lead to failure within marriages. This is because these are big parts of our lives. And if there's disagreement within that, if there's not a mutual understanding and respect about it, then this can lead to arguments, resentments, dissatisfaction, loneliness, not feeling heard from your partner. And so understanding and asking those questions before you get married is really going to be important. And sometimes you do ask those questions, but then people change, things change, perspectives change, religious views may change, political views may change, life goals can change, careers can change. So that's part of what I was saying. Changes are going to happen. And so how do you adapt to those changes? And sometimes the changes are going in a direction where it's impossible for you to stay in that relationship because it's completely unhealthy. And those are the things that a lot of us have to come to terms with. When a relationship is toxic, unhealthy, harmful, that is when you have to really analyze, is it worth staying in this or not? But of course, as a relationship therapist, my recommendation is to seek outside support. Start with couples therapy. Interview the couples therapist that you want to work with. Ask them how they would deal with certain issues that maybe you and your partner are facing. Make sure there's a level of comfort that you have with your couples therapist. Make sure that you're there not just to blame the other person, but to actually work through things. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this video was helpful and insightful for you. If you have any other questions, leave them down below and I'll make a follow-up video or answer you directly. I encourage you to watch this video next.